On a day that may end in their relegation, Ipswich are cruelly confronted with what can be achieved. Blackburn, promoted with them into the Premier Division just 2 seasons ago, already runners-up to Manchester United and into Europe for the first time, and with this super new stadium mushrooming, it seems, almost overnight. But not everybody can have access to Jack Walker's millions and afford players of the calibre of Alan Shearer, who on Thursday will collect his award as the Football Writers' Player of the Year. Well, Shearer has a new partner up front, Ian Pearce, who's 20 today, rewarded with his first start after scoring twice in 8 appearances as a substitute. Ipswich have been picking up injuries just when they didn't need them. Phil Whelan and Gavin Johnson are the latest casualties, but Neil Thompson returns at left back after missing 7 matches, Paul Mason into midfield after missing 4, and Ipswich must hope that Chris Kiwomya begins to deliver more goals to support Ian Marshall. He's only got 6 so far this season. John Lloyd of Wrexham is the referee, and Ipswich begin this crucial final match attacking the goal to the left. They'll certainly have spent the last few days working out the different permutations at the bottom of the Premier Division, but in simple terms they've just got to score and get a result, and there's an early break here, and maybe that's a sign of their early intent. Paul Mason breaking from midfield might have given them a dream start, but hang on, here's Shearer at the other end, and if the early exchanges in these first few seconds are any indication, and it could be an afternoon to send the Ewood Park crowd on into the summer in a happy vein. Kevin Moran back in the side today. Shearer lays it out to Henning Berg, who's playing this afternoon on the right side of midfield. Kenny Dalglish on his feet, on the scaffold and the ironwork. Good header forward by Mark Atkins. Here's Pearce. Lasso. Back to Pearce. Both he and the keeper missed it, and that's finally cannon behind off Wilcox and will be a goal kick. Maybe Craig Forrest was a little fortunate. Didn't go down for that with a total conviction. Ipswich can't afford to surrender possession as often as they have in this first half. Here's Pearce in space. Alan Shearer started his run, and for once that's beaten Ward. Wilcox should have buried it. And Blackburn with their first real chance, and it came after a slip by John Wark. Perhaps the first mistake that the veteran Ipswich defender has made. Pearce who cut it in. It looked as though Wark would cut it out, but he'd just been sucked too far forward. And surely Wilcox should have done better from there. May to Pearce. Gets it on to Shearer. Still onside. Shearer! Great save. Craig Forrest came to the rescue of Ipswich when Pearce threaded it through. Shearer with all the time he needed, an absolute thumper, and somehow Forrest turned it behind. Here's Atkins, just chips up. Hendry's there, the flag's up. Somebody was offside. Well, Jack Walker's millions have put Blackburn firmly on the map and into Europe. 50 million in total has been invested in the playing side and on the stadium. Lasso looks for a free kick which doesn't come, but again Blackburn with no difficulty in winning the ball back. Pearce is onside, flag stays down. Now what can you do here? Wilcox! Another chance has gone begging. The Ipswich back four caught again by a ball that didn't bring an offside flag. Lasso coming to scrap to keep possession. Milton took it off him, and here's Marshall with a run in on Flowers. He didn't take the chance, and Ipswich can't afford to squander them. Here's Wilcox. Atkins. And Lasso. Atkins with a lot of space. Again, John Walk dealt with it with great aplomb. Here's Kiwomya. Oh, Mason had come inside him, but they got it back. Kiwomya, Mason in support of him. Here's Thompson. Makes himself space for a good deep cross. Out by Wilcox. Here's Garrett Williams. Stockwell. Stockwell in quickly. Stockwell again. Oh, he could have gone forward. Maybe now. Stockwell. Up to the back post. It was May's header. Marshall. Kiwomya. How on earth did he miss from there? Right on the edge of the 6-yard box. The ball came to him quickly, but it's another gilt-edged chance that has got away. John Lyall was the manager of Ipswich when they won the second division title 2 seasons ago, but then moved upstairs and promoted his coach Mick McGiven into the job of team manager. What a worrying time it is. It was Mason who'd come back with Lee Makel and concedes the throw. Makel makes a little bit of space for himself. Finds Wilcox, heads it back. Shearer! At 6'4", Craig Forrest was certainly tall enough, and the fingers were long enough. Wilcox backpedaling to make space for himself. Here's Hendry. Off the line by Mickey Stockwell, and Colin Hendry, who hasn't scored this season, as close as that to a goal in the final match. Forrest came and he didn't get it, it's loose. May had the shot with the Ipswich keeper on the floor, having come for a ball that he never got. Appeals for handball, referee doesn't agree. Well, the crowd behind that goal feel that they saw a handball and John Lloyd didn't. The boos are ringing out around Ewood Park. Shearer's having a little word, but whatever there was there, and there certainly was a hand up, and it may have been that of Linnigan, but an absolute clutch of players, and maybe the referee not able to identify whose it was. Kiwomya. Marshall tries to get on the loose ball. Kiwomya does. Good twist to make space. Here's Kiwomya. The referee had a good view. Corner given. Came off a variety of feet, but the last one was a Blackburn touch. Well, Linnigan's up from the back. So too is John Walk as Mason takes it. Little flick on. Linnigan! Header down. Flowers just palms it away. Back in it comes. Here's John Walk. Wilcox will keep this in, and there's space in front of him. Wright took the defenders away. Here's Alan Wright. Good cross. Shearer didn't get a full connection, just glanced off his forehead. And Blackburn still stunned by how close Ipswich came to scoring. Linnigan up for the corner, able to plant the header down. And what a wonderful save by Tim Flowers. And Lasso, who then kept the ball in play. And the players are distracted at the moment because a section of the crowd have reacted noisily to a score that they've obviously heard coming on their transistor radios. One or two people looking rather curiously at each other and trying to work out what it is. Here's Sherwood. Well, Ipswich have got to put all thoughts of other results out of their mind and just concentrate on the job in hand. They've done very well for 89 minutes. Makel comes back finally to Henning Berg. Knocked up looking for Alan Shearer, who helped it on as the match moves into time added on for stoppages. This is Mason, and that's just anywhere. Colin Hendry. Again, the referee checks the watches, but still happy to let play continue. There goes the whistle. It's a great point for Ipswich in their final match to come to Blackburn, runners up in the Premier Division, and get a goalless draw.
But would that draw be enough? It was now between Ipswich, Sheffield United and Southampton for the third relegation place. Both of those were away from home, Southampton at West Ham.
Southampton's destiny was in their own hands at the start of play. Victory equals security. But with Ipswich drawing, even a point would have been enough. They made the most inauspicious of starts, however, as West Ham took a 10th minute lead through teenager Danny Williamson. That's how it stayed until first half injury time, when the award of a free kick was the cue for Southampton's maestro to pick up his baton. Matthew Le Tissier's brilliant free kick, further evidence to support the notion he's fought a one-man crusade against relegation. With Southampton's 16-year life in the top flight ebbing away, Le Tissier had again revived them. His teasing feints and dummies provided Neil Maddison with a 54th minute goal, and the Saints with yet further resuscitation. But a nervous last half hour was guaranteed when West Ham equalised. And who else should score for them but Martin Allen, although the assist was Dave Besant's. A 5th goal in 6 games for a player not renowned for his scoring exploits. Southampton's resilience in recent weeks has been admirable, and they again displayed it in abundance today, taking just 3 minutes to get back in front. Ian Dowie, the man to fall. Le Tissier, the one to score the penalty. His 25th goal of the season. When the referee whistled to make Southampton quicken up over a corner, some fans thought it was the end of the match, and a pitch invasion followed, which caused a 10-minute delay. When the players returned, the break had clearly affected Southampton more than the Hammers, and substitute Lee Chapman headed an equaliser. Unfortunately, more fans spilled onto the pitch, and though a couple of minutes still remained, the result stood at 3-3. Enough to keep Southampton safe above Ipswich, and probably Le Tissier at the Dell for at least another year.
And so to Stamford Bridge for Chelsea against Sheffield United. Chelsea's cup final is next Saturday, Sheffield United's was today, and the Blades were going to stay up. Players and supporters were of one voice and one mind about that. One defeat in the last 12 games wasn't relegation form, and their travelling fans loudly cheered the 30th minute goal that gave them the lead. Jostein Flo, the scorer. Praise be to the tall Norwegian international. Chelsea responded early in the second half with an equaliser from Danish international Jakob Kjellberg. His first goal for the club, and that ensured Sheffield United fans started to fidget. But 3 minutes later, they were back in front. Glyn Hodges scoring with his left thigh to make it 2-1, and Sheffield United's well-rehearsed escapology act looked more than likely. Chelsea manager Glenn Hoddle entered the fray. He told his striker Mark Stein he had to prove his fitness if he wanted to be considered for Wembley. And after 14 games out injured, Stein surely claimed his place with an equaliser with 15 minutes to go. For all generations of Sheffield United fans, things were going horribly wrong, but 2-2 would have been good enough. It was in injury time that the die was cast, a wise cross, a flick by Hoddle, a volley by Stein, and suddenly Sheffield United were down. The fans were stunned, they couldn't quite believe what had happened. Out of the blue flags were flying, and Sheffield United were relegated. It was reserve goalkeeper Alan Kelly who consulted the video printer to confirm the worst fears of the Sheffield United dressing room.
There's still a few disbelieving eyes and faces in the dressing room present. It took a little while to filter through towards the end of the game. You know, I don't think the players realised what was actually going on in the other games. But it's just a devastating blow on the club, supporters and the players. It's going to take a little while to get over, but obviously, you know, football goes on, and I think we've got a character here to bounce back.
So indeed it was Sheffield United who've gone down with Oldham Athletic and of course Swindon Town. It's been a dramatic afternoon, and this is how things kept changing. This is how they stood at kick-off. Only 2 from 5 would be relegated with Swindon. After 30 minutes play, Sheffield United led 1-0 at Chelsea and were 4 places above the relegation zone. After 1 hour, the positions were as at the start of play, except Oldham and Everton had swapped places in the bottom 3. Graham Stewart's second goal against Wimbledon lifts Everton from 21st to 18th and puts Ipswich in the bottom 3. And then Mark Stein scores Chelsea's winner in that very last minute. The goal meant that Ipswich were safe, and for the first time all afternoon, Sheffield were in the bottom 3, but down and out. So an emotional afternoon everywhere for the fans. The Everton crowd certainly lifted their team today after giving away those 2 early goals, coming back to win 3-2 against Wimbledon, a wonderful feat for them. But when these pictures were taken, they didn't quite know that they had stayed up. And of course, a tough day for the Sheffield United fans, having led in the match twice and then going down and going out of the division. And the Oldham fans in tears after not quite making it as well today. Well, now let's hear from the personalities involved in a dramatic afternoon's football, the lucky and the unlucky.
When an incident like that happens and they got the winner in injury time, and before that you just think that you're safe, and the other results are such, obviously it's a devastating blow to feel that you've got relegated in injury time. But we've got to look back and perhaps say over the 42 games of the season we've effectively, put ourselves in this situation. It was a cruel situation to happen because we've done well recently, but these things happen in football. There's been a lot of dramatic incidents in the past, and unfortunately we're on the end of it today, which is sad for everybody concerned.
I'm tempted to say you've seen it all before in 20 years as a professional, but of course you haven't, have you?
I haven't. It's the first time I've been in the relegation battle, and I don't want to do it again.
You wouldn't wish it on anybody?
No, not at all. It's best if you're going for trophies, but as I say, we were in it, and I'm glad we got the result.
People say I'm laid back and I'm calm and the rest of it, but believe me, the last few weeks have been pretty testing. But I always felt we'd stay up. I've said that to everybody, and I can't say we're a great team, we're going to stay up, but I just felt that we would stay up. It's a gut feeling, whatever you like to call it, I don't know, but I just felt we'd stay up. And it's been an interesting season. Been at the top and been at the bottom, and I can tell you this, I know which is the best.
Today, this is the start. It's a trite expression and I hate it, but this is the start of this is a new beginning for Everton. We got a terrific manager. He knows what he wants for the club. We got the best supporters in the country, as was proved today. And people are pleased. Alan Sugar rang me the minute the whistle blew. Sam Haman came up to me, put his arms around me and said, listen, we're really pleased you're still in the Premier League, and we are where we belong.
About 20 minutes into the second half, I had a little jog over to the bench just to ask how things were going, and that was when we were 3-2 up. And we knew that Everton were drawing at the time, but we didn't know about Sheffield United losing, so we still had something to hang on to.
Have you ever felt like this in football before?
No, this never happened to me. I've been relegated before, but, you know, it's one of those cruel twists, and perhaps it was meant to be, but, you know, we'll have to get over it at the moment. You know, everybody's sad. I'm extremely sad for the players and the fans and everybody concerned, and it'll take a bit of getting over.
Thoughts for fellow managers who have been relegated?
Well, it's a long, hard season, and the two scrappers, they've scrapped all season. They'll be exhausted as I am, as lots of managers will be tonight, and we'll all look forward to a nice summer's rest.
And then next season?
We'll start again.
Of course. Now, Frank Skinner and David Baddiel, pundits tonight. This is where the punditry starts. But of course, it's been a sad day, hasn't it? And you know, we can't just have fun about this because all the fans. It's been so much to them.
It was terrible watching. There's a bit of a tear in Dave Bassett's eye there. I'm filling up. It is. It's terribly sad. There's no consolation, I don't think. Sometimes people say this thing about, you know, it can be good for a team getting relegated. I think that's absolute rubbish. It's terrible. I'm off to Portsmouth tomorrow to see if my team West Brom can stay up. And
what have they got to do?
Well, they need to do whatever Birmingham do, basically. So if Birmingham
Only
draw,
better,
we draw.
so to speak. Oh,
yeah, as good will do. But it's very stressful. I don't think I'll sleep very well tonight.
West Brom man, and David, you're
Well, my heart
Chelsea.
goes out to Dave Bassett as well, because he was on our programme the other week, and he's a great bloke, but it doesn't go out that far, because I was very pleased to see Mark Stein scoring again, because that means he'll have booked his place.
For next Saturday, for the big one.
Yeah.
Now, you kept your eye very much on the Everton match today.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I was glad Everton stayed up. I think some people like to see a big team go down, but it does feel wrong for a side like Everton to get relegated. There has to be changes there, I think, certainly. One thing which occurred to me that needs to be changed is, you know, when teams go into, can you answer that phone, Des? when teams go into Anfield and onto the pitch there's a big sign that says, "This is Anfield," which I think has terrified players for years, you know. But when you go onto the pitch at Goodison Park, the sign there says, "Welcome to Everton," and that's too nice, isn't it? It sort of means
very gentle.
It suggests sort of, welcome to Everton, you can have 3 points if you like. And there's Anders Limpar giving a lovely welcome to Wimbledon in the 3rd minute, in fact.
It's extraordinary.
Well, I think a lot of us were wondering why he did that, but when you think about it, he's in a defensive position, the arm's gone up automatically. Clearly, he still thinks he's playing for Arsenal.
Oh, it's an offside appeal.
Ah,
of course.
You've got it. I can see why you're here now tonight, Dave. I
the chairs are working.
You hadn't worked it out up till now.
Oh, I can feel a Scottish accent coming on.
But,
it was very influential, Limpar. There was a couple of incidents which, I mean, I'm no expert there, as you know, but which
really?
they could
Don't yourself down.
Okay, then I'm a bit of an expert, and they could have been dives, I thought, possibly.
Dive-ish.
Dive-ish. There's one just outside the area, and incredibly, Limpar gets a free kick for that. If anything, it should have gone the other way. But he's just outside the area. This one, he gets his position in better. This is the penalty, and I don't think there's any contact there at all.
Nothing.
Now, the next one later on was definitely a dive. I think this one coming up.
This one?
There's Anders. That's it. Actually, seen it again, perhaps not as blatant as the first two.
Yeah, you might be right. Actually, I saw Mike Walker give Anders Limpar some advice about halfway through the game. I don't know if you spotted that. That might relate to that. There you go.
Oh, that's it, yeah.
Oh, dear.
Well, that must have helped, I think.
I think Hansen and Brookie are in danger here because this is really... I mean,
We're cooking now, aren't we?
Yeah, you're off and running. Now, Blackburn...
But some terrible defensive errors. Oh, this chair, it's...
Yeah. What about Letitia, though?
Don't get him going.
Blackburn against Ipswich.
Yeah, Blackburn against Ipswich wasn't quite as exciting as the Everton game. It was 0-0 for a start.
You were supposed to be concentrating on it. How do you know? Did you have one eye on the other one, did you?
Oh, yeah, I just about spotted what was going on in the other one, once or twice.
Yeah.
But actually, the player that impressed me most was a young Blackburn player called Ian Pearce, who's played, I think, once before. And he's
19, I think.
Yeah, he's quite a big lad, but he's very tricky on the ball, you see. And that sort of neat turn, the ball comes from Graham Lasso here, and he does it again. Look at that. That's really, he's so good, I think it's actually turning into Eric Cantona. Look at that. Collar up and everything.
In fact, if the camera pans down here, you can see he's actually walking over a Norwich defender during that shot.
I thought Ipswich didn't really play with as much fight as you would expect for a team in their position. So in the first half, they let possession go and...
Rather lucky to survive, I would have
thought they were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Norwich...
And the fans didn't go on the pitch at the end. That's the first time the Ipswich fans haven't been on the pitch for about 3 months, actually. It's a bit of a turnaround.
They couldn't work it out, mind you. We had trouble all afternoon working it out. Norwich against Oldham, you had a look at that one too.
Yeah, Norwich versus Oldham. What I noticed, it's a shame that Oldham have gone down, I think. It's a shame because, you know, they thought they were going to get to the FA Cup and stuff.
Oh, it's terrible. I mean, the fact is there must have been fans on the at Wembley, sitting there thinking about getting cup final tickets and all that. A couple of minutes to go, they were there. They were there for the big day, and then that Mark Hughes goal seems to have turned their entire season.
They've got a fantastic trainer at Oldham. I don't know if you've seen him. He's a man who really fully believes that Lucozade aids recovery. Here he is now. It's something that he's lived by all his career.
That's the injury.
Interesting application.
It works, and look at that.
Instant recovery.
But he's had to deal with an awful lot, this trainer over there. It's Sean McCarthy, who's had a terrible record, apparently, of shoplifting broccoli. And the trainer's had to deal with that as well. Look at that.
Oh, yeah.
Terrible place to get caught.
Surely he could have grown his own broccoli at Boundary Park, couldn't he?
Oh, not on that pitch, too sandy.
Oh, I think it likes a sandy soil, broccoli.
I have to tell you, you're spotting things the others just don't spot.
Yes, there you go, you see.